Hello everybody, I'd like to talk about who I owe my recovery to and why. So I owe my life to the lady who called the ambulance. She thought I was drunk, she didn't recognise stroke symptoms. She called a paramedic, she said come pick this young guy up, he's drunk. The paramedics knew it was neuro. They sent me to the appropriate hospital. I had TPA, which is a clot busting drug, after they diagnosed it as an ischemic stroke, not a hemorrhagic stroke. If they give you TPA and you've had a hemorrhagic stroke or an aneurysm, it'll kill you. So it has to be ischemic. So I owe my life to that decision. But as far as recovery, it's a little different. So I briefly mentioned in the initial dramatic interview, if you haven't seen that interview, watch it. The one where I had my first rehab, the dreadful meeting where they told me it was probably palliative care and who was present. I was present, my wife was present, my parents were present, the neurologist was present, and the physio they assigned me to was present. So this physio that they assigned me to was just a lucky strike. She was pretty young. I think she was recently graduated. So she heard every word the neurologist said about me being in palliative care and no more children, and best case scenario is kind of care, in home care for the rest of your life. She heard every word of that just as well as I did. The very next day, I had my first physio session with her. So it was just an initial physio session. Kind of she assesses what moves, what doesn't move, what goals we should do, and I just discussed the day earlier, the meeting that we'd had, and how the neurologist said it was not going to work. It's not going to work for me. My attitude was really bad at this point, probably 3 or 4 weeks post-stroke. So I'd been only given bad news from that point. Nothing but dreadfully bad news. This physio said, yeah, I was there, I heard every word she said. And then she said, don't worry about any of it. She said, I'll have you walking within 2 weeks. So just hearing her say that, and the confidence that she had in saying that, it just put on the light bulb for me that I actually could get better. And then every afternoon she'd go to the nurse's station, do her notes, and sometimes she'd visit me and give me an extra thing to do, or something else to think about, or something else, moving towards my goals. She was absolutely brilliant at really pushing me towards recovery. If another physio had been there in that neurology meeting and heard the same thing, I may not have recovered as well. I owe a lot of recovery to her. As far as walking and talking, I owe most of my recovery to my son Jordan. I call him Junga. If you haven't seen the video on how much he helped me, it's well worth watching. He really helped me. He was 6 months old when I returned home, so he was rolling around on the floor, and basically so was I. So I'd lie down there for hours and just pass him toys and balls with my left hand. So watch that video if you haven't seen it, but him and I walked all day, every day, and he really helped me learn to walk and use my left arm. As far as frontal lobe damage, which I have very little of, but has made a profound impact on my life. The neurologist said I don't have any frontal lobe damage, and then I said, well, explain this then, and he goes, well, I don't know. So that's why I've kind of created this channel, to answer the questions, to kind of say what can't be said, in a way, to answer questions that I've asked professors of neurology that have been in stroke for 50 years, and I said, why is it so hard to eat? And he goes, I don't know, but everybody complains about it. So that's the example of questions that aren't answered that I'm trying to answer. I'm trying to cover all of stroke and how I recovered and why I recovered, what helped. This video's on who helped me recover and why. So lastly, the frontal lobe damage, which is inhibition, impulsivity, saying whatever's on your mind, saying what you're thinking, Sam Harris, the neuroscientist, I've mentioned him a lot. He helped me a lot. Just being able to recognize what I'm saying and what I'm thinking, he helped me. Also, being in relationships with girls, I've been in some relationships and they kind of keep me in line. You shouldn't have said this or you shouldn't have said that. And it's all healthy criticism, so I always take it on board. But so that's who and what's helped me recover to this point. Thanks, guys.